The city of New York is a beast that never sleeps. It only breathes in heavy exhausts and neon lights. Oliver, a 30-something writer with a frayed coat and a soul to match, stood under a leaking scaffolding. His latest manuscript had been rejected for the 12th time. His bank account was a graveyard of insufficient funds, and his heart felt like a hollow drum. He took a turn into a street that shouldn't have been there, a narrow cobblestone path between two towering skyscrapers. The roar of the taxis faded into a haunting silence. Then, he saw it. A soft, pulsing cobalt glow emanating from a shop window. The sign was weathered oak, swinging on rusted hinges. The Midnight Tea Shop. Below it, in elegant gold leaf, "We don't serve tea, we serve the truth you forgot." Oliver pushed the door. A chime rang, not like a bell, but like a piano chord struck in an empty hall. The air inside smelled of petrichor, old books, and toasted cinnamon. The walls were lined from floor to ceiling with thousands of glass vials. Inside them, swirling mists of gold, violet, and silver danced like trapped lightning. Behind the mahogany counter stood Clara. She wore a sweater the color of a stormy sea. Her eyes weren't just old, they looked like they had watched the stars being born. "You're late, Oliver," she said, her voice like velvet over gravel. "The water for your kettle reached its peak resonance 3 minutes ago." Oliver blinked, wiping rain from his glasses. "How do you... I didn't make a reservation. I don't even know why I'm here." "The shop doesn't open for the curious," Clara whispered, pouring steaming water into a cracked ceramic cup. "It opens for the broken. Sit. Your soul is shivering louder than your body." Clara placed a cup before him. The tea was a translucent amber, and the steam didn't rise. It drifted toward Oliver like reaching fingers. "Drink," she commanded gently. "This is the steep of the unspoken. It's made from the words you swallowed to keep the peace." Oliver took a sip. The world blurred. Suddenly, he wasn't in a shop. He was back in his childhood home in Ohio. He saw his mother at the kitchen table, her face tired, her eyes searching his. This was the night before he left for New York, the night he chose his ambition over her loneliness. In this magical vision, he could feel the coldness of the linoleum floor and the smell of her lemon-scented detergent. He watched his younger self walk out the door without saying, "I love you." The pain was physical, but as he drank more, the vision shifted. He was allowed to walk up to his mother and hug her. He whispered the words he had suppressed for a decade. He felt a knot in his chest, one he didn't even know existed, simply dissolve. As the vision faded, Oliver noticed other patrons in the shadows. A man in a high-end suit sat motionless, staring into a vial of glowing green mist. A woman in a surgical scrub suit was weeping silently over a cup of lavender tea. "Who are they?" Oliver whispered. "The lost souls," Clara replied, her expression somber. "In America, you are taught that more is better. More money, more fame, more speed. These people ran so fast they left their shadows behind. Now they come here to find them. But be warned, Oliver. Some people love their tragedies more than their triumphs. They stay here forever, sipping on their sorrows until they turn into those vials on the wall." Oliver looked at the shelves. Each vial was a person who had traded their future for a permanent seat in their past. It was a terrifying realization. "I don't want to be a vial on a shelf, Clara," Oliver said, his voice gaining a new edge. "I want to finish my story. I want to live in the New York that actually exists, not the one in my head." Clara smiled, a real, sharp smile. "Then you need the midnight roast. It's bitter. It tastes like cold mornings and hard work, but it's the only thing that will wake you up." "What's the catch?" "The price is your favorite lie," Clara said. "You have to give up the excuse you use to justify your failures." Oliver realized his lie was the belief that he was a victim of bad luck. He handed over his resentment. Clara reached out, plucked a dark, jagged shadow from his shoulder, and corked it in a small bottle. She then handed him a steaming black brew. It tasted like lightning and ink. It burned, but in its wake, his mind cleared. The writer's block didn't just break, it shattered. Oliver stepped back onto the street. It was 5 a.m., the blue hour. The neon signs were humming. He turned to look back, but there was no cobalt glow, just a plain brick wall of a laundromat. He didn't panic. He walked to his apartment, the rhythm of his footsteps sounding like a heartbeat. He sat at his desk, opened his laptop, and didn't wait for inspiration. He simply began. There is a shop in the heart of the noise where the tea tastes like the truth. He wrote for 14 hours straight. He wasn't writing for fame anymore. He was writing to breathe. 2 years later, Oliver is standing in a packed bookstore. His novel, The Midnight Tea Shop, is a bestseller. A young man, looking just as lost as Oliver once was, approaches him for a signature. "Is the shop real?" the young man asks. Oliver signs the book and looks at the rain outside. Far down the street, he sees a faint, cobalt blue flicker. "It's as real as you need it to be," Oliver says. "But remember, don't stay for the tea. Just stay long enough to remember why you started walking in the first place." The moral of the story: magic is not a destination, it is a catalyst. Our past is meant to be a teacher, not a prison. To truly live, one must have the courage to trade the comfort of old sorrows for the uncertainty of a new beginning.